most of our sessions on right now, including the different seasonal recipes we came up with. So there's and most of those are hydromels. There's sweet honey, dry ginger, mixed berry, pumpkin pie, green tea and mint, smoked jalapeno and pineapple.
Oh my!
Yeah. So we have some higher gravity bourbon barrel ones that we did. One's just 10% wildflower, another one's bourbon barrel aged wildflower mead, another one's 10% bourbon barrel aged blackberry mellow.
Okay.
And then over on, and then I do the area I'm in doesn't produce a great deal of honey, but every now and then I get a bit in from some of the local guys that they don't jar up and sell on the side of the road or something like that. And so at the moment I have a sizer made from local Jonathan apples grown here in town and honey produced here in town.
Oh, nice. I like that. Let me get Manny back in, but I've got a question for you about the whole local approach, because I know that's something that you guys are into. Manny, we lost you.
Yeah, AT&T, thank you. That's okay.
Yeah, that's Skype. You can't do anything about it. So, Todd, one of the things I noticed when I was looking at your About page is you guys are really big on the whole local approach. So, what's going on with that? I'm assuming that there's a lot of agriculture around where you're at. What I know about that part of Missouri, there is a lot of agriculture, but I don't know what kind. So.
Well, here in Dallas County, we have more cows than people. Yeah, there's quite a bit of agriculture in the area. There's a strong Mennonite community here with a really outstanding produce auction, so that that provides us with a few odd and ends. Especially in the small, very very rural county that we're in, there's a lot of different small producers for a lot of really really good local products, and we've tried to work with those guys, and we've been working with them over the last couple of years to encourage them to expand their production and provide more and more so that we can produce more local products and for export out of the county.
Sure, yeah.
And that's just been an ongoing project, and every year it gets a little bigger. We get a little more honey in. We get to do we get to do some more interesting experiments with it, and get it out to a little wider audience.
Yeah. Are you guys pretty much Missouri only right now?
No. We're also distributed in Arkansas and Louisiana. We are working on Oklahoma. It's for anyone who's tried to distribute in Oklahoma, it's a 4-tier state. So if you
4-tier.
Yeah, so in a 3-tier state, you already have trouble, trying to get your product directly to the customer and then redirect them back to somewhere where they can find it. And that can be very difficult. In Oklahoma, there's actually a whole nother step in the process. So you are even further removed from the customer, and unfortunately, with our type of product, our direct contact with the customers are our best front.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get something going down in Oklahoma. It's been it's been slow going, and we just talked with a group, and I think we're going to start sending some draft down to Florida.
Nice. Yeah, Florida seems to be opening up a little. They used to be one of the hardest states in the country to get into. And and I'm going to tell this to every meadery I talk to, take a look at Mississippi, because Chris from Mississippi says it's a desert down there. They have no meads. Hoping to find meaderies that can get in there. Are you guys using Vino Shipper, or are you pretty much going with the more direct route at this point?
We don't do anything with Vino Shipper. Those every state we go into with a distributor.
Okay.
Who then works with us to, help build the brand down in those areas. So I mean, I say we have statewide distribution in Arkansas and Louisiana, but it's not like you would find our product just anywhere. There's definite dedicated craft establishments in those areas, and they're big supporters of ours, and it's just very. and we slowly, just slowly but surely build the market.
Okay.
Any chance Florida is going to include Miami so I can try this stuff?
Well, it will be available statewide. So I mean, if you have an interest in seeing it in your stores, then yeah, we can work with our guys to get it down there. But
let me know. I'll ask my stores to ask for it.
Yeah, that's exactly right, because we again, at least has been our experience here in the more remote areas of the Midwest, is that a lot of retailers are very hesitant to give mead a lot of shelf space or attention, and even if they do, they're confused about how to introduce customers to it or explain it to customers, and I mean it can be a real detriment to the brand moving on the shelves.
Where do you guys?
Yeah, they put it.
So often our best front is, again, the customers going to that retail establishment and having to request it so we can get it in there.
Yeah, makes sense. Where do you guys ask your stores when you do your ride-alongs with your distributors? Where do you ask the stores to put your stuff?
We do canned, most of our distribution is in canned session meads or hydromels. Okay. So we're usually hanging out on the shelf somewhere, directly on the line in between the craft and the ciders.
Okay, so you're out with and that's, in my thinking, that's probably the best place for a lot of meads, because the people who are traditional wine drinkers are not necessarily going to be looking at the meads.
Correct.
Yeah, at my local Total Wine, I'm always telling them to take the mead away from the dessert wines, because that's where they all think they belong, and it's a struggle.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Put it with the plum wine and the Manischewitz,
right,
and the and the Boone's Farm,
yeah.
And it's like, dudes, really?
Right, and it really struggles to move over there. But and again, that reflects that disconnect where your retail establishments aren't quite sure what your product is or how to cope with it.
Well, and part of it's the meaderies too. Now, my Total Wine, we've got one here in Raleigh. Half of the mead is over with the Manischewitz and the plum wine and that stuff, basically on the backside of the champagne. So you got like wine, champagne, everything else, and it's with everything else. And then the other half of it, particularly Moonlight and Bee Nectar, and I think this is because they're working with their distributors more closely to push it in the right directions. It's over with the craft beers, so it's basically tucked in, like you say, between the craft beers and the ciders. The downside is that it's all the way at the bottom. So unless I
see that a lot.
Yeah, they've got it on the dusty bottom shelf, where unless you know what you're looking for, you're never going to see it.
Mm-hmm. And the reality is, and there are other markets I believe that are a bit more savvy than they are here in, say, Southwest Missouri. But you're on the average, your customer does not know what they're looking at.
Yeah.
And I've seen it. The customer looks at it, they're confused by the word meadery, and so it's they just look right past your product. It's like there's a blind over it. So
I got to take my
Total Wine and see if they'll let me do a tasting there of all the stuff they've got in stock.
Yeah, I really got to take my hat off to Bee Nectar though, because they have got the can design down to like it just stops you,
Oh yeah.
They do the really crazy graphics and they stop you. And I see people buying it just because it's cool looking. They don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've got a great they've done a great job of branding, and they've got a lot of great labels and names, and it's really very catchy.
Label person is, don't you?
That's his wife, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Carrie Dahlhofer. Yeah, she's just amazing. So yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that it's Carrie whose brain is behind those amazing labels.
Mm-hmm. Well, doing a good job, yeah.
Yeah, because Brad's never home. He's just bebopping all over with his Buddha, It's where's a Buddha now? I have no idea, and I don't think he knows either half the time.
I know that feeling.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, you get to travel, and that's especially if you're widely distributed, which Bee Nectar's in a lot of states. Moonlight's the same way. I mean, Michael Fairbrother, I don't think he's ever home. I know his wife is wondering where he is half the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's on the agenda for you guys going forward? Do you see expansion coming up soon, or are you going to kind of keep going where you're going and just like grow slow? What's up with that?
Well, we built the building that we're in from scratch, so it's actually still got quite a bit of potential in it.
Nice.
So whenever I need to expand, it's just a matter of I've got a specific tank design on file at the local stainless manufacturer. So
nice.
a lot of our expansion is simply a matter of calling them up and having them bring another tank over.
Okay.
And we get a lot of support from a lot of really handy locals that are good pipe fitters, electricians, that kind of thing.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said for living in a farming community. I mean, really.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so putting a new tank in is not a big panic around here. I suspect we'll be putting in another. At the moment, I have 4 500-gallon temperature-controlled fermenters, and then we've got a great one pressure-rated bright tank, and then we have a great deal of bulk storage tanks where most of the mead sits. But I believe we're looking to put in another 3 750-gallon fermenters here before the end of this year.
Oh, okay. So where's that going to take you for production levels? And where are you at now, and where do you want to get to? Again, feel free to say none of your dang business, Vicky, but, I'm just asking.
No, I was looking at some of these numbers the other day since it's tax quarter.
Well, and the AMMA is going, what was it you guys produced? Yes.
Right. I think we did last year around 13,000 gallons sold, so that's about just under 500 barrels, I think.
Nice.
I suspect this year we'll, especially with opening Florida, we'll probably be looking at doing maybe twice that. And I have a feeling that'll kind of precipitate us moving into the next year, looking to see some similar growth and having to put in those extra tanks.
Yeah. Are you going to broaden out your offerings at the same time, or is it going to be more of the existing offerings?
I think we're actually both. The thing is when we originally started doing this, we tried kind of doing a seasonal mead, something that rotated in about once a quarter or so, and that especially with the confusion about mead, just trying to match the craft seasonal rotator approach is not just usually causes more confusion than it's done any good. And what I honestly think is it. All of the different flavors that we do for the seasonals have a tendency to be very popular regardless of what the season is. So I end up with stock that I'm shipping 12 cases of our summer seasonal to St. Louis that's left over from last year just because it's taken off in a couple of stores up there for some reason.
Well, I saw you had on the website, it was showing a pumpkin spice.
Yeah.
And I know everybody on their planet is doing pumpkin spice like every dang thing, but I happen to be a particular fan of pumpkin spice. So just saying, if you have any left over, you can figure out a way to get it to North Carolina,
Well, and that's exactly what keeps happening is the season ends up and I end up with a bunch of it left over. And so, yeah, I might know where 100 extra cases of that's sitting.
Well, I don't know if I can afford 100 extra cases there, Todd.
But the interesting, the great thing about mead is, as opposed to beer, is its shelf life is almost indefinite.
Yeah, true.
We don't seem to see, especially in our draft package, we don't see any deterioration from year to year. So if I have ones that, didn't end up selling on the seasonal, I get them back in. Get them back in on stock, and they do slowly but surely sell throughout the rest of the year. So, but what I think we're going to do this year is we're going to quit doing that in general. We're going to run out the last of the packaging we have for those, and we're just going to start releasing. Have one rotational, and it may, or it'll just kind of move into whichever flavor feel like making at that point. And part of that so that we can. Give ourselves a break from some of the seasonals that we've been doing that we end up with in stock all year round or on draft here at the meadery all year round and start to introduce some newer flavors. So I'm hoping once we run that packaging out, one of the first things we'll do is, introduce 1 or 2 new flavors, let them rotate through before we, maybe go back to some of the other popular seasonals.